Hey Jody, did you go trick-or-treating last night?
You know, I didn't, but I did get a treat from the Dodgers as they forced a Game 7 in the World Series.
Hence the Dodger blue dress. I love it. Sports Scene starts now. Welcome everyone to the lovely Annenberg Media Center. I'm Mary Paige Nussfetter.
And I'm Jody Storm Sullivan.
You know, Jody, it was nice to finally see the USC Trojans come out and play to their full potential last weekend. What were some of your biggest takeaways of the weekend?
You know, Mary Paige, my biggest takeaway was the run game. Let's get to it right here. You see Rojo breaking down the side, and he's just going to dance right on down the sideline. A nice 67-yard touchdown run in the first half. And then again, he's going to come back in the second half. And right here, he's going to nab a nice 64-yard touchdown run. This is impressive for the junior. He's a kid who's been able to gain yards, break long games, and finally we kind of see him in the resurgence. We have some offensive linemen back that have been able to kind of create those holes and help him be explosive. And again, after practice, he continued to thank his offensive line for his ability to break out those long runs.
The holes are the same. You know, I think it's just a matter of, opportunity and sticking with it and not playing from behind. You don't have to throw the ball as much, when you're up.
And while Jones did have a fantastic game against the Sun Devils, his performance was supplemented by Malapayao and Ware and USC's run game. Its pieces are continuing to fall into place. And my biggest takeaway against the Sun Devils is they were missing freshman standout tailback Stephen Carr. Once he's back and healthy, they're only going to continue to be more dominant. So we have my takeaway. Mary Paige, what was yours?
Well, Jody, it was a sack party on Saturday. Uchenna Nwosu had a spectacular game, getting 3 sacks for an ASU loss of 12 yards. Rasheem Green matched that performance and had 3 sacks for an ASU loss of 19 yards. It was clear that the defensive line struggled against Notre Dame, so it was nice to see them come back with a vengeance against ASU. While the return of Josh Fatu and Porter Gustin provided the veteran leadership that they were needing, the real standouts were definitely Rasheem and Uchenna.
I thought we very much improved last week, especially out in space when the quarterback broke contain. We didn't let him get out. And then anytime you hold a team to 79 yards rushing, you're doing something good.
So you see, they're going to continue to build that line, continue to play. But another thing with Arizona is injuries to look out for. Common theme that has plagued this team all season. Let's toss it out to Casey and get a nice injury update for the week.
Thanks, Jody and Mary Paige. The Trojans have had a lengthy list of injuries to face this season. At last night's practice, Coach Helton announced an update with 3 starters still on the list. Most notably is outside linebacker Porter Gustin, who has been out the last 5 weeks. He returned last week against Arizona State for a limited number of snaps, but is back in a walking boot and will not play this weekend. It is still unknown on when he will be able to return. Gustin's backup linebacker, Christian Rector, is not practicing due to a broken hand, and his return is also unknown. With both linebackers out, Jordan Iosefa is expected to take over. Another star defensive player is cornerback Iman Marshall, who is moving around but still not practicing due to a knee injury he faced against Notre Dame. On the offensive front, Stephen Carr practiced this week, and as long as he does not face any setbacks, he is expected to play this Saturday. With 3 defensive starters out, the Trojans are looking to pull out a win this weekend against Arizona. Jody and Mary Paige, back to you guys. Thanks, Hopefully these injured Trojans find themselves playing on the field this weekend against the Wildcats.
It'll be tough. There's a red-hot Arizona coming in on the Coliseum. They're 4-0 in the month of October, which is the first time the team's done that since 1992. And you know who leads the Wildcats? Quarterback Khalil Tate. This kid is a beast. He just picked up his 4th consecutive Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. You're going to see right here. His arm strength is really no question. He completes about 69% of his passes so far on the season. But Mary Paige, that's not what he's known for. He can pass, but he can also do something else a lot better. What is it?
Everybody's been talking about this guy's run game. He has really shined in his first appearance as a quarterback. He set a FBS record of 327 rushing yards against Colorado. He's racked up almost 1,000 rushing yards as a quarterback. And these incredible performances, as you said, 4 Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week honors. After practice, Coach Helton talked about how he sees his team matching up against the Wildcats.
They are a run-first offense. They're averaging, over 300 yards a game, rushing the ball and doing a really good job with their schemes. They don't have very many schemes, but they're really good at it. They have a very experienced offensive line. I think the fewest starts that any kid on their O-line has is 15. They're very well built for what they want to do. And
also after practice, in addition to Helton talking about how he sees his team matching up against Arizona, both Helton and the players talked about how they're kind of in a playoff of their own. You see right here, USC is the top spot in the South. They have that 5-0 ranking. Arizona's right behind them at 4-0. So really, this is kind of the Pac-12 South Championship title game we have going on here.
We love it. We love it. Our reporter Hannah Wing caught up with the Imatorbhebhe brothers to see kind of who's maybe the favorite brother. I think we're about to find out.
Hey guys, I'm Hannah Wing with this week's segment, How Well Do You Know Your Brother? I'm joined here with me today with football's very own Josh and Daniel Imatorbhebhe. You guys ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
First question, who is more likely to go trick-or-treating in college? Why is that?
Like I said, I mean, Daniel's more of a homebody. I like to go out a lot more and stuff like that and spend time with people. So I don't know how I feel with me, I guess.
Do you have a good costume for this year?
No, we never grew up trick-or-treating, so because of that, I mean, I never got in the habit of it.
I guess you're going to run right now, I guess. So, who is Coach Helton's favorite between the two of you? So we're on the same page. What do you have to say for yourself?
I mean, I feel like that's only because Coach Helton's a big brother, like I'm a big brother, so we share a connection on that level. He's such a great example of how to like serve people and love people, especially like his family, so I feel like that's the only reason. Not that I'm like his favorite, but I feel like we just have a slightly better connection on that level, but he loves us pretty much the same.
That's great. And who has a better victory dance? Whoa, we have little different answers here. Can I see yours?
My victory?
Yes, your victory dance.
The thing is about my victory dance, you can only see it if you tune in on Saturday after we score. I can't be giving sneak peeks out here, you know what I mean? But catch me in the end zone and you can see mine. I'm pretty shocked that he said himself, and I'd love to see it.
Yeah, can we see it?
I mean, like he said, you know what I mean? In the end zone, catch me.
So it runs in the family then. I guess you guys are just all great dancers. Well, thank you guys so much for your time and reporting here from USC Annenberg Media. I'm Hannah Wing.
Switching from the gridiron to the court, I'm joined by junior libero Victoria Garrick of the USC women's volleyball team. Victoria, thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me, Jody.
Perfect. So, after 4 straight road matches, what's your team kind of looking forward to now that you have 4 straight at home?
We just are looking to get back our home record. We were undefeated until we lost to Stanford. So this weekend, we're looking to have great games versus both Arizonas.
So talking about the Arizonas, your team split the matches when you guys went out there on the road a couple weeks ago. What's the prep like knowing that you have them at home, you have that home court advantage? What are you doing so that you can pull out 2 wins this weekend?
We're very excited for the Arizona game because they swept us and we were completely caught off guard. I don't think we expected to lose the game, let alone get swept. So I know that they should be a little frightened because we're ready to get up for that match and really put the hammer on them.
So you're a junior right now. As a freshman, you were playing and starting on a team that was the top team in the country. What's that transition or that growth and where do you see yourself from where you were as a freshman to where you're playing now and as a leader on the court?
I think as a freshman, even though I was starting, it's still surreal to me. I would question, am I good enough to be doing this? I can't believe I'm playing. Now I think I'm at peace with myself and my play, and I know I'm good enough to do this, to start on this team, and I think it's just really cool to look back and see how much I've developed as a player.
I have to say, you're one of the more fun players to watch on the court. I go to a lot of y'all's matches. You have always such this high energy. What does that do for your own play, and then how do you see that affecting those around you?
I try to talk as much as possible because the more I talk to my team, the less I talk to myself. So the more I can get the girls going and keep the energy high, the less I'm focusing on the little mistakes.
I know that earlier this year, you actually did a TED Talk about athletes and mental health. Obviously, your own experiences influenced it, but what made you kind of sit there and think, I want to do a TED Talk?
I remember when I first was experiencing depression and anxiety, I would Google athletes who are depressed because I just didn't know of any. I didn't hear of any. And eventually, once I realized what I was going through, I thought there's probably some other girl or guy out there looking for a similar story and they can't find it. So I might as well put mine out there. And I think that was my goal. And when I saw that TEDx was coming to USC, I thought, why not apply and see if this is something they would be interested in, and they were. And it's had a really great result and some great feedback, which has made me really excited.
Have people come up to you, reached out to you, maybe to give more talks at other places?
I'll get this once a week. Someone will email me about the TED Talk and send me their entire life story and what they've been through. And I'm usually so busy, but I love to lay in bed at night and read these stories of these people who are going through such similar instances. And it's just great to see that so many people are able to relate and resonate with my talk.
Yes, I know that you have your podcast called Skipping Practice. What made you want to start that?
Well, I am a journalism major here, and because I'm so busy, I never have time to do much or get as involved as I'd like to. So I figured, what can I be doing on my own time? I can do a podcast, I can edit it myself, get my own microphone, I can do this completely on my own time. So that's why I wanted to do it. But then I also felt that I could give a voice to more athletes who have more stories, because I'm not the only one who has something to say. So I think by having this podcast, I can have on other professional and collegiate athletes and broadcast what they have to say about their failures, their struggles, and their successes.
You've had some pretty interesting guests, one of them being Kelly Tennant, a USC volleyball alum. What's it been like being on the interviewer side of a conversation?
I love it. It's really fun. It reminds me how passionate I am about journalism, and that gives me something to look forward to when volleyball ends. So I love sitting down and switching gears and no longer being the athlete in the conversation, but being someone who can help someone else articulate their thoughts and feelings.
So you mentioned obviously journalism, post-volleyball, post-college. Where do you kind of see yourself going? Somewhere in journalism, somewhere dealing with kind of your TED Talks? Where do you see yourself going?
That's a heavy question. I think that I am going to spend the rest of this year and next year really exploring all the things I'm passionate about and seeing what opportunities and doors those open for me, and just follow that.
You know what? Thank you so much, Victoria. I'm really excited to get to see you play this weekend here at home. And if you guys want to watch her too, you can check Victoria and the rest of her teammates as they face Arizona State on Friday and Arizona on Sunday. Now let's toss it over to Sarah McGrew to hear how the women of Troy are doing out on the pitch.
Thanks, Jody. Women's soccer started off the weekend with a 1-0 win against number 22 Cal on Thursday. But on Sunday, they were handed their first conference loss of the season. The Trojans lost 3-1 to number 1 Stanford in a game that decided the Pac-12 champions. Stanford opened up the game with a header goal in the 15th minute, but that was quickly answered with a goal from Sydney Myers just a minute later, tying the game at 1. But Stanford's attack didn't let up, and a shot into the far side netting gave them a 2-1 lead at half. A third goal from Stanford in the second sealed the victory and a Pac-12 championship for the Cardinal.
So we have to play a full 90-minute game, and we have to match the aggression, and we have to, give our 100% effort the whole game. And I think we're going to be just as good as we were last year, so work towards that.
Coach McAlpine told me after the game that these losses are the best teachers as the number 6 Trojans look forward to crosstown rival number 5 UCLA this weekend and the NCAA tournament, which starts November 10th. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Sarah. So obviously you heard kind of our football breakdown of the ASU game, but I don't think that was the biggest takeaway. Let's see what happened right before half. So Mary Paige, what's going on?
I know we were all kind of shocked when this was happening. A Hail Mary. The quarterback just tossed it out there, caught by a sophomore, Kyle Williams, but nobody thought it was actually a touchdown.
Yeah, you see here, you have all these USC players signaling no touchdown. They bat it up and try and catch it instead of batting it down, but alas, the biggest thing here is that all of the teams, it's halftime, they all exit the field. They're all exit the stadium. You have ESPN sideline reporters running around. They sent a field judge into the locker room to try and find all these players, and no one can find them. And then finally, USC arrives at a different tunnel than the one they had exited in. It was crazy.
Absolute chaos. That won't be happening again this weekend. Thanks for watching Sports Scene this week, guys. Feel free to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Annenberg Media Sports.
We'll see you next week.